Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Makeup Underground. We have the latest hip-hop, soca, dancehall, reggae music, and the latest makeup releases. Stay tuned.
Hi, thank you everyone for listening this Sunday. I know it's kind of crazy this evening, but I just want to thank everyone again for joining us. We have a special guest with us, Ty from RVD Records, and we definitely appreciate him coming today to tell us more about his company and how he began this company. Hi, Ty, are you there?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing this Sunday?
You know, it's Sunday. It is what it is. You know, it's been quite a busy day. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, I understand. I'm just happy that you were able to make it with us today and answer some of our listeners' questions, because they've been hearing a lot about RVD Records, but they don't know quite how far along you are with the company. So I just have a few questions to ask you, beginning with, how did you get started in this field?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, I'm honored to be here. I'm glad to be here. I wouldn't be anywhere else right now, and I'm glad we got listeners listening to this.
Wonderful.
How I actually got started, I really got started in this field by accident, and It all really happened when I moved down here. When I moved down to San Antonio, Texas, I noticed that there were a lot of artists, but not enough management. So, therefore, when I saw the need as an entrepreneur, that's when I decided to start the record label.
Wonderful. We're happy that you started it, and I definitely agree with you, because San Antonio hasn't really been placed on the map yet, but it is a growing city, and we definitely need more musicians, more artists to kind of bring it to that status. And how did you? Who inspired you to become a mogul?
Well, I wouldn't never even consider myself a mogul. I'm just trying to, be more hardworking than the average. Hardworking entrepreneur seems more fitting. But the general people that really inspire me is Diddy. Diddy's been an entrepreneur that I've looked up to since I was young. And, people like Andre Harrell, Timbaland, Jay-Z, pretty much just the people that have actually left impact on the music industry. A couple of artists have also inspired me as well that I listen to even up to this day. And, my inspiration really comes from everywhere. Doesn't matter what industry it is. It's just a matter of just being that entrepreneur and thinking more innovative. Yeah, pretty much.
Great. And I know it, like, within the time frame that we're in, it's so much easier to do a lot of those things. If you were to do this 10, 30 years from now, it would have been a lot more difficult. Diddy pretty much had to break the door open and create his own pathways, and it really did inspire a lot of musicians. I agree with you, and I definitely understand. And when did you start the new record label?
Well, we actually just launched this year in 2013, but, I've always had, my hand, in and out of the, music industry. But, again, it was something I discovered by accident, you know what I'm saying? Pretty much that's just something I discovered by accident, but we just launched this year. So the label is actually at a stage of infancy. But we have, a strong team with many years of experience combined, which makes us, pretty much just ready to go.
Oh, wow. So you have a whole team behind you ready to begin and go forward. That's wonderful that you have that.
Absolutely. That's
and
the most important thing. Like, Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the team is very important, behind anything, whether it's a label or a brand. If you don't have a team, you don't have nothing. All you have is a name. So I just wanted to put that out there.
That's great. And why do you think music is so important?
Well, music means a lot of things to different people, but to me, music to me is everything. Like a lot of people that grew up poor, music for me is usually what heals the pain, then there's laughter and hope. So music plus, music is, plays a very vital role in me growing up and developing not only as a young man and as an entrepreneur, but also, as someone who's just aware of his surroundings. So.
Oh, wonderful! Because music is very important. A lot of inner youth kids, they don't have anything to aspire to, and music kind of gets them out of the street. It gives them a pathway to better themselves. So it's wonderful how music can do that. And what have been?
Well, before you go to the next question, just to add to that, if anybody's listening out there, for all the listeners, you got to definitely vote and fight for, music and arts, to support schools and education, because if they take music and arts away from the children,
right.
and they take away that part of their creativity,
That's very, very true.
So that's very important. So if you guys are listening out there, I just want to let y'all know that y'all need to go to speak to your local council members and whoever is in charge of, as far as for education is concerned, and just vote to have, music and arts, in school, because they got some schools now where they're taking it away. And when you take something like that away, then the future is very slim, especially for children. When you don't have creativity and you don't have any imagination, how do you expect to be able to do something great? And music and arts play a vital role to that. It doesn't matter what industry they end up in. They can end up in the industry of music or become doctors and lawyers. Music inspires that, and arts. So, I just wanted to put that out there.
I definitely agree with you.
On to the next question.
Right. Pertaining to that topic, what have been some challenges that you faced?
Well, a major challenge for me is multitasking. Although I already have a lot on my plate, I have a tendency of still trying to be a part of everything that's going on. I like to be very much aware of everything that's going on, and I still face a lot of those challenges, but I try to keep it under control. But it's just pretty much just the multitasking aspect, because when you're an entrepreneur, although you have a team, you want everything to go perfect the way it's supposed to, and you understand that you trust your team, and you want to share that vision. You understand that your team shares that vision, but, as an entrepreneur, and when you're starting up a company, you got to understand that you're starting at first, so the team doesn't really see the vision that you saw in the first place until you get to a certain point of your entrepreneurship or the company. So that's pretty much my major challenge right now.
I see. I understand that it can be a long road to success when you're a new company, but I definitely know that if you have a strong team behind you, that shouldn't really be a problem for RVB Records. And what would you say is the greatest success that you experienced?
Well, as far as success is concerned, it's defined for many other people as acquisition of properties. But to me, the greatest success for me is actually being lucky enough to find a great team to work with. Moving down here to San Antonio, I've actually gotten a chance to work with a couple of people. A couple of names I will not mention, but a couple of people. Some great engineers, producers, artists. Pretty much everybody in their mama's here is an artist, so it's crazy to me. Somebody new every day. But you get to meet and work with a couple of people, but that's pretty much just my greatest success. It's just being able to meet and work with artists in general, or anybody at that want to work with me, because I have certain expectations, and you got to have a certain amount of patience to be able to work with me. So if you're able to work with me and survive, congratulations, you just passed the test. So.
Okay, I understand. That's a lot. But I completely understand meeting new people is wonderful, because you can interact with different personalities. You can learn from another person and build upon that. So that's also very great that you have that. And how do you think you're helping people with RVB Records?
Well, as a label, our goal is to become more involved in communities, and participating in a lot of charity work, and helping artists reach their fullest potential. I always believe that no matter what stage or level of entrepreneurial goals that you try to accomplish, charity is definitely an important thing, because that's how people remember you. People don't remember you when you're rich, and then they value you when you're great, but they remember you more based on what you're doing, not what you've done.
Right.
You could have a whole couple of artists with gold, platinum records, and that's great. That's dandy, but what's the whole point when you haven't done anything for the community? And that's one of the mistakes a lot of. Exactly. You have a lot of artists, and I'm not going to bash any artists out there. I mean, it's good to have all that nice stuff, but I do admire some artists that do go and contribute to their community at the end of the day and give back. Yeah, that's what we're all about. We always encourage ourselves as a label and our artists to go ahead and give back to their community once they get to that level of success. And, of course, in doing that, our ultimate goal as a label is to make sure that our artists reach their full potential.
Great, and we definitely want to look forward to any charity events that you have, that we can post it on the website and let everyone know that they can get involved. That's great that you're able to do that. And also, what kind of services do you currently provide? Services.
Well, that's a funny question, because we actually don't provide any services. We're pretty much just straightforward. We actually make hit records. We look to make hit records with anyone, who is willing to devote that time and energy to pretty much just do that. And anything less from a label, I feel it would be a disservice to not only fans, but also to any upcoming artists. We don't offer any services at all. I'm glad you answered that question, and I just want a lot of people to get this straight. I mean, we're not selling any products. We're not offering any service. All we're pretty much is trying to do is trying to get you to that next level. And once you get to that next level, believe it or not, that's when things start getting a little bit more complicated. But that's just pretty much what we do. We're just a label, and we help you get to that point where,
to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that makes sense. That's great. And do you have any upcoming projects that our listeners can look out for?
Well, we actually have our up-and-coming, artist right now that I'm looking at. He's from San Antonio, Texas. I like to call it Sad City. He has a label under him called Blue Chips Entertainment. He actually is coming out with his new mixtape on November 11th, so y'all look out for that. There'll be more information on that. And he's got a new hot single right now called Inner Dreams. I happen to love the track. I'm pretty sure you would love it too. Edited, of course.
So definitely send that over to us.
Keep it PG-13.
Right. I mean, definitely. You can send it over to me, and I can play it on the next show just to kind of create a buzz about your new artist. I don't mind doing that for you, because it's always great to see people in the same community helping others in the same community move forward, and that kind of builds the community. So I just love the fact that you're a San Antonio-based company that helps people from San Antonio. It's wonderful.
Well, I don't want you to say that. I don't want you to say that at all. I'm not a San Antonio. We're not a San Antonio-based company. The label was founded in San Antonio, but we're a global company. I mean, we're willing to help any. We're actually interested. We're interested more in international artists than anything else. We're a global label, and we look to expand on a global scale. So it's outside Texas. It's New York, it's New Jersey. It's pretty much just anywhere around the world. If you've got talent and you feel that you want to show it, just we'll give you the details and information at the end of the show.
Oh, wonderful. So it's for anyone who has talent, is willing to put in the hard work and go forward with their goals. That's good then. That's cool. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
And what do you currently provide that stands out from other competing record labels in San Antonio?
Well, we have a leading marketing campaign team right now, and I'm on